But I am so tired of hearing people say, oh, no, I'm not trying to take your guns away. Really? Then why is there legislation being offered now, 21 co-signers the last I checked, in Congress to regulate bullets? Because bullets aren't in the Second Amendment. Bullets aren't protected. You can infringe on bullets. One of the congressmen, it may have been Debbie Wasserman Schultz, said that she would like to see bullets be $5,000 each.
Well, that was the sort of the joke about it. Like Chris Rock did a routine about this a long time ago, which I think is what you're referring to, right? Where they had...
I'm not sure. I know I read that yesterday in a story about Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Yeah, and so that... But it's a similar thing. What they're trying to do is increase the difficulty to acquiring a bullet. They're going to increase the cost. They're going to put on all sorts of background checks on it. They're going to make... They call it a gaping loophole that you can go buy bullets without a background check.
Right.
Now, this has, of course, been a long-term goal of the anti-Second Amendment crew, which is trying to make, if they can't get guns off, because there's, as they point out, there's a right to bear arms, yeah, whatever, but there's no right to bear bullets.
Ammunition sales should be subject to the same legal requirements as firearms sales, and that includes instant background checks. Closing this ridiculous loophole is a common-sense component of comprehensive strategy to reduce gun violence. Okay, you would have some credibility if you weren't also talking about, you can't repeal the Second Amendment and bullets aren't in the Second Amendment. So you're exposing yourself as someone who's saying, I'm just going to use this loophole to choke the Second Amendment to death. And I just want to have an open look. If you're a socialist, if you're a Marxist, if you're an atheist, if you want to repeal the Second Amendment, I don't care. I'm not your enemy. I don't mind talking about it. Let's talk about it. If your ideas are better, then convince me. But that's not what's happening. Nobody wants to have that conversation. Well, right. Nobody will come out and tell the truth. Just tell the truth. You think guns are evil and bad. You think that people shouldn't be trusted with guns, whatever it is. You'd think that the Second Amendment is old dusty and it has no place in America. Then make the case and let's have that conversation.
Right. As you point out, if you want to change this country, you can change this country. However, there is a process that's involved. And that's why I prefer the Justice Stevens argument. Come at it honestly.
Yep.
Come out and say, you know what? No more Second Amendment.
Me too.
I mean, and it's not, Chris Cuomo was on TV today with Rick Santorum, and Santorum said, people want to overturn the Second Amendment, and Chris Cuomo said, no one's going after the Second Amendment. As appropriate, he pointed out, Santorum pointed out, Justice Stevens is, and for whatever reason, Chris Cuomo's in complete denial over that.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
No, if he thought that the Second Amendment could be overturned, he'd be all for it. He'd be for it. But people understand you're never going to get rid of the Second Amendment.
Actually, Stevens' argument is it's the fastest way to do this. It's not even about, in Cuomo's defense is, well, he's not saying he doesn't want any guns. He's just saying the best way to get these new gun laws is to overturn the Second Amendment because it's the fastest way. The fastest way? It's the only legal way to do it. And that's a good thing. At least people are thinking that way. But he's not the only one. I mean, Brett Stevens, I guess all Stevens are against the Second Amendment, but Brett Stevens, who's a conservative-leaning columnist for the New York Times, came out and said the same thing. Repeal it. And you know what? If you want the things you want, if you want to do bullet control, if you want to do assault weapons bans, if you want to change the age from 18 to 21, well, you better get in there and start repealing. Because, as you pointed out, it shall not be infringed. It's like the most... How could they... Let's put it this way. Let's say the founders did want a vision of the Second Amendment that conservatives like. How else could they have done it better? What combination of words could they have come up with that was better than shall not be infringed?
They could have taken out a well-regulated militia.
But that's not what this argument is. And the well-regulated militia was completely common parlance at the time, as has been pointed out, and your book, Control,
right.
And many others.
I understand that. That is the way it was understood. That means the populace. That means the average person.
Yep.
Okay? But that's not the way they do it now. They should have been mind readers and bigger visionaries than even they were and thought, you know what, geez. And I say this throughout the Constitution. I contend that everything after the 10th Amendment, with an exception of taxes and, when the president dies and prohibition, everything after the 10th Amendment is, oh, geez, really? You need us to spell this out? No, all men are that includes black people. All men are created equal. The next one. Oh, crap. Really? I have to say this? If they're men, they have a right to vote. Oh, geez. Do I really need to say this? All men are created equal. That includes women, you dopes. I mean, I swear to you, that's what everything after the 10th Amendment is, unless it's a progressive distortion of our freedom and our Constitution. It's just, man, you people are so stupid that you couldn't read this. You couldn't take what they said, all men are created equal and endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Why did we change it to pursuit of happiness? So we could end slavery. Why did we have a 3/5 person? So we could end slavery. Hello. I wish the amendments could talk, because everything after the 10th would be screaming at us. You're so stupid.
It's an insulting document.
It really is.
It is. But look at what they're trying to do. And at the same time, we have important people in the movement, people who attend important marches for gun safety and gun control. People like Reverend Al Sharpton's half-brother.
Oh.
Now, he had an interesting day, because day one, it was kind of a 2-day period here. Day one was anti-gun march.
Right. He marched.
Day two, he went out for a ride with Brunea Jennings, who's 23 years old.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, sorry. Well, kind of. Went for a ride up next to, I should say, Brunea Jennings, who was 23 years old, until the person in the car with Reverend Al Sharpton's half-brother shot her. And she is now, both of them are now under arrest in involvement in a murder.
Why? When Al Sharpton's brother was probably just in the car just to say, hey, you shouldn't have a gun. You shouldn't have a gun.
Does not seem to be his
Maybe
role
he
here.
was saying, my gosh, you got to get rid of that gun, because that gun's going to make you do something stupid, because they just go off. Maybe that's what was happening.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe he was just there to prove that guns just go off and kill people, but people don't kill people.
Well, it's interesting because he was protesting the Trayvon Martin shooting as well. He's been protesting with her, the one who actually pulled the trigger. The woman who pulled the trigger and he were in the car. They've also protested multiple times against guns, and now they've used a gun in a murder, allegedly. But again, we should always listen to people like Al Sharpton.
Well, you know who we also should listen to? Michael Bloomberg.
Chris Cuomo?
Well, I don't know about Chris Cuomo, but Mike Bloomberg and Chuck Schumer, who, if the press would actually do their homework, would find out that I'm pretty sure they both have a concealed carry permit.
What? No, they wouldn't do that because they're anti-gun.
No, they're different. Chuck Schumer.
Concealed carry for something else?
No.
Is it just okay to hide things they're carrying?
No, Chuck Schumer and Michael Bloomberg, I believe, have a concealed carry permit in New York City.
Which is almost impossible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, unless you're really well connected, or a mayor, or a senator, or a billionaire. Then you apparently can get one because, your life is different. You have threats against your life.